Hello, wonderful people, and welcome to the Africam Show and a very happy new year. Welcome to 2023, and thank you for joining us this Tuesday. Yes, it is a Tuesday, and it's me, Trishala, again, ready to greet you with a very friendly voice, hopefully. I have a big smile too, I promise, and welcome you all back. Thanks so much for coming back to us and spending this time with us. So what we're looking at the moment is actually a brand new camera or waterhole. The waterhole is brand new, and the camera, of course. And this is one up in Kenya. So this is at Oldonyo Lodge, which is kind of in the Chiulu Hills. It's between Kenya's Tsavo and Amboseli National Park. So this is going to be super exciting because we're probably going to see some interesting animals that we don't really get to see down in South Africa. And we'll also be able to see variations in some of the species that we're familiar with, like Impala, for example, that we see here. The Impala up in Kenya have slightly wider horns, bigger, so we'll be able to see those kinds of things too. So that's super exciting that we get to experience a different country virtually. Anyway, I was just so excited to introduce the new waterhole, but let me also remind you that we are live and interactive, so send through your questions and your comments, maybe your well wishes, whatever it is that you like. We would love to hear from you. We've already got some. Maimuna Gaba, you say beautiful, thank you for the spectacular sight. This is really a spectacular sight. So this is the first time that I'm seeing this cam as well. I know it's only the 3rd of January, so I should be forgiving to myself for not having a look sooner. But this is the first time that I'm seeing the Oldonyo cam, and I think it is absolutely stunning. The light is beautiful. The angle is really amazing. In fact, earlier on, an elephant, a big bull, had come through. And because the cam is quite low, it was so impressive. We really got this angle that's quite similar to when you're actually out in the wild, on maybe you're on foot or on a game drive vehicle. When an elephant comes really close, you end up having to look up. And with the position of this cam, that's exactly what would happen. So I'm really, really hoping the elephant will come through to Oldonyo. That is it. Oldonyo. Oldonyo. And then Jordan Grant, you say, fantastic, thank you, with hearts and exclamation marks. Jordan, I love hearts and exclamation marks. Thank you for coming through. Judy Garguilo, I hope I said that right. Judy, you say this is awesome. It really is. Wonderful to have this new cam. And then we have some familiar names. Jan Powers, you say a Happy New Year to everyone. Zygote says a Happy New Year, Africam and members. Zygote, you're also commenting on the camera. You say you saw a superb starling at Oldonyo today. Fantastic. Stacey Salmon, you say this is great, isn't it? It's so promising. There's so many wonderful opportunities with this new cam. So much potential, and I really, really love that. Gemma, you say good morning all and a happy new year. Absolutely. So far, I must say, the last few days of the new year have just gone by really, really quickly. So for me, this kind of feels like the first thing that I saw in the African bush, or the first thing that I saw for this new year is the African bush through these cams, and I'm pretty happy about that. Pretty happy indeed. Zygote, you say Thompson's gazelle. Certainly we'll be able to see some Thompson's gazelle. In fact, the potential is quite crazy. We might see a Coke's hartebeest, Grant and Thompson's gazelle, yellow baboon, Cape and Savannah hares, tree civet, tree hyrax, golden jackal. That's what I'd really like to see. Lesser kudu. These are just a few that I'm rattling off, but there's a potential for quite a bit more. So that's very, very exciting. Mishi Nakao, you say really amazing, awesome. Thank you for the show. My absolute pleasure. Brittany Parker, you say hi Trish. Hi Brittany. I am thrilled to hear all your names again. Kind of like we all had a break from each other, and now we get to come back and say hi again. Oh yes, it's Bob from Kalamazoo says a blessed new year to you, Trishala. Thank you so much. And to you all. Patricia Lathi, you say, this looks like a waterhole at the Ark in Kenya, a great place. This is El Doño. It is. It looks fantastic, doesn't it, Patricia? So green, and somehow it really is a subtlety in the habitat. So, if someone had to say to me, "This is South Africa," I'd say, "Okay, fine," but something about it feels a little bit foreign. It feels like Kenya, and it's hard to put a finger on what that is. Obviously, it's the vegetation, the color of the soil, all of those things kind of working together, but something just says, this is brand new, this is Kenya, this is not South Africa. And it's really, really exciting. Glenda Newmancraft, you say El Doño is an amazing camp. It really, really is. I can't wait to see what comes along. Aussie Jan too, you say, am I early? You are right on time. Where's your coffee, Aussie Jan? That's what I'd like to know. Michael S., you say hello and Happy New Year to everyone from North Carolina. Thank you so much, Michael. Happy New Year to all of you too. Mary Momo, you say, hi Trishala. You hope that my New Year is amazing. And thank you for bringing so much to the Africam community. My absolute, absolute pleasure. Can't think of a better way to be starting off the year than with all of you and the bush, albeit virtually. Jive Bunny, what a name! You say you're loving the new cam in Kenya, and a Happy New Year to me. Thank you all very much. Janice Carol Willis, you say beautiful. Thank you. Alessandra Ballestrieri, you say a Happy New Year from Italy, an amazing channel. Thank you so, so much. Laurie Birdash, you say time goes faster as we get older. I have suddenly been feeling that way. Oh, and Jive Bunny, you say that you believe that one of the huge elephants in this area is called Wonton. Well, we'll just have to see. We can, that's the thing about this new camp, so much potential, and we get to really start from the beginning again, with learning who our frequent individuals are that come to the waterhole often, maybe pick up on little things that we can identify them, or identify features rather, and get to know the animals in this area. So here we have this impala, and I said to you earlier that apart from being able to see different animals that we may not be able to see in South Africa, on the camps that we have in South Africa at least, there's also differences within a species that we see in different regions. And an impala is a good example of that. So if you look at this impala's horns, okay, I guess it's a little bit difficult because there's not really a frame of reference, but the horns are quite wide. Look at that. So I'm sure that as we go through our other cams, the usual ones, we'll see some impala too. But if this ram just turns its head towards us, or even like that, look at how far the first curve is from the ear. So there's quite a significant distance there. And when you go to Kenya and you see these animals, it looks much wider in person, the distance between the horns, than down here in South Africa. Now, why that would be, it's really one of those things that is up to chance or random. And it is not, or obviously it is not harmful to the impala to have wider horns, or, maybe wider horns is first and narrow horns is second, whichever, wider or narrow horns were not in any way causing a disruption for the impala's life, which would lead to some kind of, essentially what would lead to death. So it may not be beneficial, but it might not also be a hindrance. So And I say this often, it's not survival of the fittest, it's just the fit. If it works or it doesn't cause any harm, then a lot of the time it persists. So in the case of the impalas that have these slightly different characteristics across regions, it may just be simply that some impala have wider horns in this area, and so that trait persists because it didn't cause any trouble. But at least I don't know of any particular advantage the wider horns have, because the horns are used as, in part, for sexual selection. So good big horns are very attractive. There we go, attractive to the females, but also impala rams having, oh, it's looking straight at us. Hello. Impala rams having horns that will get to roughly the same size is important for when they're engaging in combat. So that would probably explain why it's the majority of the population up in East Africa have these wider horns, because it makes sense for when they battle. Anyway, I'm very excited about the camp. Aussie Jan, you say it's coming. I hope you're talking about your coffee. I feel like I might need a coffee soon, Aussie Jan. I'm visiting all of my family, very, very, very many of them, in KwaZulu-Natal at the moment, which is where I am. And definitely need some coffee with all the family visits I've been doing. But I managed to get this small spot to spend with all of you. Glenda Newman Craft, you say you've seen many, many elephants. Since you say that they're my favorite, and on almost every cam. Well, then, let's see if there's any elephants on some of the other cams, because they are certainly my favorite. Thank you, Glenda, for remembering. Oh, look at this. I know you think it may have looked like magic, but I did know there were elephants on the other cams. You just made it perfect for me to swap over here. So the camera, you can see, is not very clear. It's probably because there's been some movement with the elephants. Maybe some splashing. Water's gotten on the cam, but we still can see them. And that's most important. Egyptian geese, of course. Oh, everything looks so lovely. Up in East Africa and Kenya there, it was a little bit greener than down here, but you can see that there's an abundance of water. What are we doing there? Elephants become so relaxed around water. And some of the best time to view them, because apart from the sights and sounds of them simply drinking or bathing, they relax, do a lot more strange things. Not strange, but a lot more behavior that's a bit curious. Not just survival motivated behavior, like touching rocks and spraying each other, a little bit more playful. Oh, look at this baby trying to squeeze through. He's pushed by the adult there as well. Ah, there you go. So that little one there stretched its trunk to reach the corners of this adult's mouth. And by doing that, it's detecting hormones, or rather chemicals, in and around the mouth area, but more so, it's kind of like a very comfortable greeting. You'll see that youngsters do that to adults quite a lot. Sometimes they'll put the trunk into the adult's mouth and then bring the trunk back into their own mouth, almost as if they're tasting what the adult has been tasting. This Egyptian goose, though, feels like the ultimate photo bomber. It's also quite close to us, so its size is grossly distorted, and I think it looks quite funny. I've been seeing loads of Egyptian geese here in Durban. Loads of vervet monkeys, but no elephants, at least not yet. But I am going to Shleshlue in Filoze next week or so. I'll definitely tell you all about it if I see any cool animals, some elephants, I hope. Because, as you all know, particularly Glenda Newman Craft, you knew it immediately. Elephants are some of my favorites. Indeed, you say a Happy New Year to me and to our team and to all the viewers. Thank you very much. A Happy New Year to you too, Ian. Beautiful sounds, nice and peaceful. So relaxing. Gosh, I really do miss them. I'll have to see some of these soon. I hope that these guys will stick around for a bit. Maybe we can return to them a little bit later. Or, we only have like 12 minutes together, but before we end, I'm sure we can return to these elephants. But how about we head over to Nkoro Pan? I do love Nkoro. There's some terrapins. So I was told funny terrapins. I'm going to try and now figure out what's so funny about them. What's so funny about them, Aiden? I think the one on the left looked like it was laughing for a moment, but in fact it's probably just trying to cool down with its mouth open. Now let's close it. Terrapins as such. I want to use the word strange, but I want to use it with a positive connotation. They look a little bit odd, and there's not too much about them that can be considered particularly cute or cuddly, but they're such incredible animals, and that's what makes them cute in their own way. They're often quite slimy, quite smelly. They're in between a turtle and a tortoise, essentially. And that's perfect because a tortoise has adaptations that allow it to persist on land, but a turtle has adaptations that allows it to persist fully in water. And a terrapin has a bit of both. Now, with any animal that is a combination of or an in-between of two other animals, some things look a little bit strange. So here their faces look quite, perhaps that was what was funny, opening of the mouth. So their faces can look, in fact, as a child, always thought they looked quite scary because they look very serious. Terrapins Yes, it is quite funny. So their feet are semi-webbed, not fully, not quite, and that allows them, they also have claws that allows them to move on land, but also swim. Obviously, they have to come up to breathe, and they spend a lot of time basking. On the banks of waterholes, but also on the backs of various animals, particularly hippos, on rocks, on logs. Being reptiles, they are ectothermic, so they regulate their body temperature based on their ambient temperature. So the best way to do that is to bask and also to move around. So if you bask in the sun, you can heat up, but remember, because they're exothermic, they can also overheat. As soon as they feel that happening, they go back into the water and cool down. Seems like a lot of work, but that is the lifestyle that their biology allows them. Inu Zaliha, you say Happy New Year's, a new era for the future? Absolutely. And off our terrapins go. Oh, look at this greenery. Amazing. There's a lot of terrapins in there. You can notice them by the little movements in the water. You can just see the trail as they move along. We have so much variety today, which is really cool. Oh, look at that terrapin coming up on the top there. It's like the terrapin looked as if it walked into these zebras at town. Wow, look at how different it looks. It's so, okay, not that different, but there's a lot of flowers. So green. These zebra actually look a little bit stickish. It's very, very noisy as well. So I would say that the behavior of these zebras, yeah, they're alarming. Did you hear that? It sounds very strange, but that's an alarm call. I think we know why. It's so strange, but for some reason, a lot of animals react this way towards ostriches, where they feel quite, I don't know how they feel, but it appears that they can become quite intimidated by ostriches. Perhaps it's their height. And I've seen it happen quite a bit. So the only other reasons that I would expect zebra to act this way is if... No, this is strange. I predict... Oof. It's such a hard thing. So there's a lot going on here. Sorry, I'm just thinking at the same time. There's a lot going on here. The zebra are moving quick. The zebra were alarm calling. These impala were also strutting. Strutting is a type of behavior where they kick their back legs up. It's a type of display that says to a predator, hey, don't go for me. I'm very healthy. I'm very agile. I'm so athletic. It's a type of deterrent. And so for me, I think it was a predator one. Uh, Those Hadida seemed to have landed like right next to the camera and started shouting as usual. Anyway, guys, I would, I mean, if you have time, I would say keep an eye out on this camp after we're done here because those animals rushed up quite quickly. And yes, I have seen animals do that when ostriches come along, but this persisted, and also the impala started doing their stotting after the ostriches had already come along. So keep an eye out. And also with all these wildebeest calves around, they can be very, very enticing to predators. And again, wildebeest are now running. So you can see the wildebeest calves very clearly because they're light brown. In fact, Glenda and Newman Craft, you would like to know how old the wildebeest calves will be before they change color, or perhaps how old, at what age will they change color? So from birth to, oh look, they've run off already. I'm telling you, there's something happening here. Wildebeest calves from birth to about 2 months old have that very light brown color, which allows them to lie up during the lie up period. So that's basically a period where they will sometimes be completely on their own, but they will lie in grass, which is often brown, but it doesn't really matter if it's green grass because they also look like soil. So it's really important for camouflage purposes when they're very young to be that light brown color. And then by the time they're about 2 months, or just after 2 months, they will start to change just a little bit, and then eventually they will get that adult, or start to get that adult coat a few months after that. But there's still a bit of a transition period. I have a feeling about the predator. I really, really do. Bluebird, you say a blessed new year to all. Thank you so much, Bluebird. And to you. And Liliana, Verdini, you say paradiso from Africa. Absolutely. It is 100% a paradise to be privy to the lives of so many amazing animals and their behavior. You know, we get to watch these things and we get to do it without disturbing them. It really is the magic of these camps. Yeah. It's such, you know, the thing is when a predator is around, and you know, if predator doesn't get put away at certain times of the day, it's still around somewhere. But if there aren't any other animals around to give us clues to their presence, we will never know. They're always somewhere. And that's why, like now, if you had to just look at the scene and there are no animals to give us an indication of anything really, we get our clues from the animals in the bush. It doesn't hold any kind of feeling because there's no information. But earlier we had ostriches, we had wildebeest, we had impala, um, we had zebra, and they were all giving us information. And that's a wonderful thing about being out there is that you can kind of collect information secondhand. So the animals I mentioned, they're collecting information with their really acute senses that we don't have the advantage of. But by learning about their behavior, we kind of get the information that they get as well. And it's a beautiful thing. It's almost like we're learning we're directly learning from them, not learning about them, but learning from them. And that's amazing. Anyway, keep this camera uh, up, I think, wherever you are. It's my dog is now barking in the background because he knows that it's time to say goodbye. Keep on watching the cam, everybody. I have a feeling there's something's gonna come along. Not sure what. I wouldn't put my money on anything particular. I don't know, but my gut kind of said lion, but I wanted it to be a leopard. So if it does happen, please let me know. And you can always do that in the comments or anything like that. All right, everybody. Jane Gorski, you say beautiful, and I couldn't end on a better sentiment. Thank you all for joining us for our first show of 2023, and I'll see you on Thursday. Thanks, everybody, and bye-bye for now.